Well, hey guys, welcome back to Ponderings from Palm Coast. I'm Mark Webb, and today is a very critical, important day, and it'll be full of information about a single subject. There has been a plethora of conversations going on about what is happening with our library, so I felt it was critical to bring in a good friend, Mike Cocchiola, to speak and talk about the Palm Coast Library. Mike, welcome. Thank you. So the floor is yours. I'm being bombarded by people with a lot of questions. The understanding of our library system and what's it about. So help us with that.
Great. First, thank you, Mark, for inviting me, Al, for doing this. I've been anxious to speak out publicly and tell people what's going on. I represent the Friends of the Library. By the way, I need to make the point that I don't speak for the library system. That speaker is Holly Albanese, who is the director of the public library system.
But you're a user.
But I am the Friends of the Library, and we provide all of the funds through donations for every program that's put on by the library. Everything from children's reading programs to yoga to speakers that come in. We have a chef that comes in and teaches cooking. We put on programs for computer information where you can learn how to use your computer or your iPhone, things like that. There's a plethora of programs put on every day.
My wife hates that word, by the way. I use it all the time.
There's a plethora
Exactly.
of activities going on all day long for children, for young adults, for adults, and for seniors every day that the library is open. Now, I'll explain who the Friends of the Library are. We are a 501c3 not-for-profit. We are chartered by the state of Florida with one mission: to raise funds for the library system for the programs that are not paid for by the county. Now, the county has been very conservative in their funding for the library. The library keeps getting cut year after year, and we have been asked to take on more. So we not only pay for the programs that your children enjoy, that you may enjoy, that your family and friends may enjoy, your mothers and fathers, that kind of thing. But we are now having to buy equipment for the library that would normally be covered as a cost of infrastructure, but is no longer funded by the county because they're cutting back on funding for the library. So we have to redouble our efforts. Well, how do we raise funds? One is organizations. If there's a civic organization in town, I want to get to them. I want to go talk to them and say, this is crucial. We have a world-class library system. Everybody in Florida knows about our library system because we are so good at what we do in terms of all those programs and things going on, that we are a center of civic activity in the library, in Palm Coast and in Flagler County. Remember, we represent Flagler County. But anyway, I've heard a lot of complaints from people saying there's nothing for seniors to do. If you come to the library, you'll see activities all day long for seniors. We just had a senior concert where we brought in a singer that sang tunes that you love to hear, not rock and roll, but songs that you love to hear. And Dee and I, my wife, Diane and I, Dee, actually danced. And we had refreshments for everybody, including food and beverages. And everybody had a wonderful time. But there are so many things for seniors to do. You almost don't need a senior civic center. You just come to the library. Each library is a civic center by itself. So I want to just give a little bit more information. We have built a library in Bunnell. So now we have a library system, us in Flagler County, with actually 2 library branches. One that's up in Palm Coast at the intersection of Belterre and Palm Coast Parkway. The other one down in Bunnell, just about a quarter mile off of Moody Boulevard, down where the sheriff's department is, where the sheriff's office is. We're right next door to them. And you can see it. It's built. Right now what they're doing is fitting out everything, and we'll have a grand opening in December.
This is what they're calling the Nexus.
The Nexus Center. The Nexus Center is the building,
right?
Because in addition to the library, there's going to be a personnel department for the county government, and there's one other office, I believe, going in there. There may be a little bit more, but we'll have 11,000 square feet of space to build a branch library, and that's what we're doing. And that comes online in December it's going to be open for the public, a grand opening of the Bunnell Branch Library. It's going to be really wonderful. That's the good news. Now, the news that causes me to stay up at night is we, in the Friends of the Library, we have to raise money for the programs for that library branch also. So all of a sudden now we have 2 branch libraries that we have to raise funds for in order for them to put on any programs, whether it's children's reading program. I want to mention this. In the summer, your children out there in the community, I think there were almost 6,000 of them, almost 6,000 of those children participated in our summer reading program. 6,000. That meant parents, for a summer activity for their school-age children, I'm talking about school-age, elementary school age, could at least get them to read books and learn something over the summer for a couple of weeks. That is wonderful. And I will add this. Nobody probably has this information, but I'm passing it on to the audience now. There are 20,000 citizens who pass through the library doors. And this is just the one branch in Palm Coast. 20,000 citizens visit the library in Palm Coast every month. Every month. So when we open Bunnell to cover that whole south, east, and western part of the county, we may be seeing up to 35,000 visits a month in our library system. We may be seeing that much. We can't tell until we really come online, and Holly and the library director, assistant directors, they start developing statistics. But we are opening up that Bunnell branch so that the whole southern part of the county can just drive to the Moody Boulevard and use the library. Remember, libraries are not just for reading. Libraries, you can read books, you can listen to CDs, you can watch DVDs. I was just mentioning to Mark here that we have isolation pods where you can sit and read quietly, to yourself. There is no sound coming in from anywhere else, and there is no sound going out from inside the pods. We'll have them. We have them now at Palm Coast, and we'll have one at Bunnell. So we have exercise programs, we have reading programs, we have movie nights, we have Zen nights where you do yoga. We have chair yoga. We have trivia nights or days. We have computer classes where you learn how to cope with your computer and your iPhone or Galaxy phone. We have all those programs and many, many more being put on. For children, we put on, for example, we just bought chess sets for the Palm Coast Library, and we'll do the same thing for Bunnell to teach school-age kids. I'm talking about, again, elementary school. We're going to teach them how to play chess. And there's nothing that will grab their attention more and their brain more than learning how to play chess. And so we do a lot of programs across the board for children, and that's great during the year. They can come and study. They can get books. They bring them home. Their parents can, while their children are participating in the library programs, the parents can explore the library, read a book, read a newspaper, or do other things. They can be on the computers because we do have public computers available that they can use. So all these things are available at the library. It is not just for reading books. Reading books is the purpose for which the libraries were built, or being built, but there's so many other things going on. You can have fun and an exciting day, an enjoyable day, doing a whole host of things going on with the library. You want to take a cooking class? We bring in a chef every month and teach you how to cook. We're doing a program this month of how to grow mushrooms. How to grow mushrooms. How many people know that? How many people have access to a class to
And
grow
are
mushrooms?
these classes free?
Yes, everything is free. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Everything is free. The only time there might be some cost, and I'm not aware, let's say we had to buy materials, or they have to bring their own materials to some kind of a class. But everything for the children is free. Everything for adults and seniors is free, because the Friends of the Library, I hope you catch my logo here, the Friends of the Library raises funds to pay for it all. Now let me talk just a second on that, and back to
Please.
you. We raise funds through donations. Now, you can donate any amount. We're happy to get anything. Because we need to raise funds now for programs for 2 library branches. So we rely on donations from the community that benefits from the library system. And you can donate if it's $10 and up. You become a member of the Friends of the Library. And you automatically have several hundreds of friends because you belong to that. And when you belong to the Friends of the Library by donating, we tell you in advance of all these programs before any of the other public learns about them. So if there's a question of fitting in by signing up early, you can sign up earlier than the general public, because sometimes they simply run out of space. There's only so much space in a classroom in the library. So I tell you by monthly newsletter what's going on and show you all these programs for you. I'm talking about the parents, your children, your parents, and friends and neighbors that you might want to come in to play trivia. By the way, and when you play trivia, it is mobbed. You have to get there early to do it. Well, you get early notice of when it is, and you can come in and get a seat. You can bring in a team if there's room. So it's important. Now, how do you donate? I do want to go just a little bit. The Flagler County Public Library, or the Palm Coast Public Library, has a website. It is Flagler Library, flaglerlibrary.org, flaglerlibrary.org. Okay? You click on flaglerlibrary.org and you're going to see a button that says Friends of the Library. You click on that and you know what comes up? Bam, make a donation. And if it's $10 or more, you become a member. If it's $15 at least, your family becomes a member. And not only do we give you notice about things going on, we keep you advised of what's happening with the library system, we might give you some community things, but the big thing, every year we put on a thank you for all of our members. This year the thank you will be at the Pine Course, the Pine Lakes Golf Club, the Pine Course Ballroom. And for members, it is free. We are going to have, and this is a first for us, and I'm so excited, we are having a quartet from the Flagler Youth Orchestra. Now, if you've ever heard the Flagler Youth Orchestra, you know how good they are. If you've ever heard a quartet from there, they are amazing. And they are excited to be having a quartet come and play for us during the reception. They're going to play for roughly 2 hours. It's chamber music, string music, that kind of thing. It is going to be not only exciting, but it's going to be soothing. You're going to enjoy the music. You get to talk to people without having blaring rock music playing wherever you might elsewhere go. And you can just have a very good evening. We have heavy hors d'oeuvres, and we always put on a good meal. It's a finger-picking meal, and it's free wine. We provide free wine. You have to buy your own beer and drinks. The bar will be open, but we provide free wine and heavy hors d'oeuvres and chamber music from the Flagler Youth Orchestra. It is this September 20th. If you join, and better join now, if you join for $10, you get to go to that, and you get to go free. Now, again, you go to flaglerlibrary.org, and then you click on the FOL. It's a green button. Yeah, it's actually a rectangular button. You click on the Friends of the Library button. You go to there, and it tells you how to donate. You donate by credit card. You can use PayPal, Venmo, and there's one other thing. I'm not sure what it is. I've never used it, but I use PayPal. And it's so easy. You just provide you can go right directly to PayPal on your own account or Venmo, or you can just use a credit card and use either one of those, and it's processed through. So that's very, very important. Thank you. Now let's go back over to Mark.
So, you bring in, you all awesome, but I want to try to educate the public and understand the process or the funding of the library system we have here in Flagler County. Presently, we have one large central location in Palm Coast, and that is a county library, not a city library, which a lot of people are somewhat confused on. And then right now there's a very small Bunnell library that's in a strip mall off of Moody. The confusion I'm hearing is when the county commissioners talk about the funding and budgeting, which they do every year, of the county library, they are now introducing and talking about the Nexus Center as a library. And I heard you say, and you're not the first to tell me this, the Nexus Center is a lot more than just the library.
Correct.
And it's confusing to people when they hear that a reduction in staff at the Palm Coast Library is to augment and support the Nexus Center, which may not be directly to the Bunnell Library. Can you talk a little bit about help?
Yeah, okay.
How do you understand that?
Well, first, the Nexus Center is the building, and that county owns that building. It was built in part by funding from the state. It's built in part by grants awarded.
So kind of like the Palm Coast Community Center, a large building.
So the Nexus is a building. Inside will be a couple of county offices, including human resources, and the library.
Okay.
So the library is only a resident in the building.
Right.
So they don't fund the Nexus Center as such. They fund the activities in the Nexus Center. The library system, which now will include the two branches, the library system is a line item in the county's budget. And they fund the library to a certain amount.
Right.
The library system. And pretty soon, when the Bunnell branch opens up, both Palm Coast branch and Bunnell branch, they have to live within that budget. But as I mentioned, I think in the beginning, I'm not sure, but the library system has been subject to reductions for the last several years. It just seems that when the county needs money, they find some of it in the library system. And so the library does struggle to accommodate. Well, this year, they're doing their budget for 2026, and they cut the library system even further. The problem the library system has is there's no place to cut other than now hours. So what they're doing is what the library was given some choices to what they should do to make up the budget shortfall is they have to give up hours because they can't afford the staff. So what they're doing is the Palm Coast is sending some staff to Bunnell to augment Bunnell's branch, and thus the Palm Coast Library may have to cut back some hours. They may have to cut an entire Monday out or something like that. At this point, it's a little bit fluid. The same with the Bunnell branch. They are going to have to deal with the staff that they are funded for by the county, and they may restrict their hours also. Right now, the Palm Coast branch is not open on Sundays, and they're running from 10 to now 5 or 6, something like that. But they might have to cut out a Monday, and so open only on Tuesday through Saturday to cut staff hours. So they're working through that, and Holly's the authority on that. But I just wanted to say that the infrastructure of the libraries, which includes staff, is budgeted by the county, and they award a line item. They're a line item in budget, and they award so much funds for running the libraries. Anything over that, we try to raise funds for. For example, we can't pay for staff, but we can put up volunteers. You see what I mean? Because we're a volunteer group. We're the volunteers that put on book sales. By the way, for the audience, if you missed yesterday's book sale at the library, you need to become members, because I tell you when the book sale is. We raised $3,172 for the Palm Coast branch, because that's all we have right now, and that money is used to buy programs for the library. Now, I can't estimate how many books have to be sold, as we do, at 25 cents a piece or 50 cents a piece to raise that kind of money, but there were tons of books walking out the door in bags to cars. People were buying, and we also put on a bake sale, and they sold like $500 worth of the most delicious cookies and brownies and cakes that you ever taste. And there was also a car show associated with that, although they had to give up because of rain. But I'm just saying, every quarter we put on 4 book shows a year, book sales a year. And that money goes into buying programs. And we also have a book store in the library. You walk through the library doors, a big red sign saying, "Here is the bookstore." You walk in there and you can go out with a ton of books for 25 cents a piece. That's it. And that money all goes into programs. It goes into children's programs. And a lot of it goes into children's programs, but those are the people, the young people, that we want to make sure that they have an avenue to learn outside of school or do their homework or research, whatever they have to do. We also have a teen room in the Palm Coast branch, a teen room. It is maintained by a high school group of people who have volunteered to maintain it. They're teenagers. They're anywhere from freshmen, I guess, to seniors, whatever they do, whatever they are in that range. And they maintain that tea room. It's in the back of the Palm Coast branch library. And there you can go and be a teenager. You could read, you could research, you could watch movies, DVDs on your computer. You could do, you could relax without somebody interrupting you or bothering you other than other teenagers. So we do that, and we sustain all the stuff that goes in there. So we have programs for everybody, and the goal is to give everybody an opportunity to enjoy, to have some fun, to stretch their minds out a little bit, and also their bodies through chair yoga or other activities. And we want them to progress and grow as citizens.
I believe that our library system does 2 amazing things. One, it is as important as our sheriff's department in providing public safety. Bringing children in, getting them off the street, especially during the summer, a location in which is safe and is a learning opportunity. Secondly, I think our library system provides, and I love to use this word, Mike, you've heard it before, an exceptional program from the county. Let's see, where else did I hear that? Oh, that's right. When we pay $11 million to our sheriff's department, above and beyond what you pay in your millage. And I know all of us just received our trim notice. Pay attention to what the county had in there. So I'm trying to get my mind around how the library system, used by more amenity than any other facility in this county. That 20,000 people a month, that's more than the golf course, more than our pools, more than our trails and parks.
Yes.
And it's falling lower and lower on the scale of support. And thank goodness we have a private donation-driven organization, which we all need to be aware, that this is going to be where things you want, things you need to enjoy are going to come from. Our governments, our city doesn't have the money. Our county doesn't have the money. Clearly, our state's not going to be pumping any money. So it's going to take donors, volunteers, people to support. But I just see that there's a lack of transparency in my mind of the, well, we know that it feels like some of our elected officials don't really see value. This is my opinion. I don't think that there's people that we've elected that see that value of the library and are more and more relying on Friends of the Library and donations to augment and support this heavily used and well-used facility. So where are we going to go from here? How are you guys planning for the development and the support of this new location?
Well, that's a darn good question. Okay. First, I do want to say is that I totally support our Sheriff's Department,
Absolutely.
but I wish I was as good a fundraiser as Sheriff Staley. I may go there and get some pointers on how to raise funds, because he's very good at it. But you said something that is entirely true. Even our council members in Palm Coast and commission members in Bunnell and so on, and certainly our commissioners at the county level, they really, with a few exceptions, know what the capabilities and the value of a library system in Flagler County, because they are often doing other things. They're trying to shore up the beach. They're trying to build roundabouts, things like that. And so the library system kind of falls through the cracks as something they don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about. But my job is to educate them and educate the citizens of Flagler County to know how valuable it is. What do those 20,000 people do if we didn't have even the Palm Coast branch? What do they do? Where do they go for the kinds of things they love doing at the library? Where do they learn how to cook, how to read, how to research, how to deal with their iPhone, that kind of thing? Because we do all that. And by the way, the biggest fundraiser we've got for the library, not us, we don't do it, it's the library system that does it, is passports. You can go to the library and get your passport. Renew your passport or get a new one. How many people know that? You know, you just go right to the library. There's somebody there to help you. They lead you through the process, and a couple of weeks later, I know in my case, a couple of weeks later, I got a renewal of my passport. And so people that travel out of the country go to the library and get your passports renewed. They do all that stuff. It's just a matter now of informing the commission, informing the councils and all the other political leadership of our county as to the value. And I need help. I'm the chief marketing person for the Friends of the Library, and I need some help. I need the help from the community. I need help from the citizens. When you become a member of the Friends of the Library, again, go to flaglerlibrary.org and click on FOL button, and it goes right to becoming a member, making a donation. If you do that, then you become an ambassador for the Friends of the Library. An ambassador. You can volunteer at the library if you wish, or volunteer to help us with some of the programs we put on. But mostly, you become an ambassador to tell your friends, tell your neighbor, tell your politicians how much you love this really grade A+ library system we have right here in Flagler County.
And I need to applaud, take a moment, and recognize that our city council did hear the citizens, including myself, and did pose the question and start a robust conversation with our Flagler commissioners to pose a concern of impacts to the Palm Coast. And so,
yeah, that was Councilman Ty
Miller, but
who
the
brought
others,
that up, and I
right,
want to go give him a big bear hug.
right. But the others were in support because they realize that it is a value to the city of Palm Coast. And remember, and I love to point this out, the city of Palm Coast is 90% the county. We are the bread and butter, the support of the county of Flagler County. What we do, we choose who's sitting in those seats by an abundance. We can control, suggest, I would say is a better word, of the needs of the city because we're roughly about 90% of the population of the county. But the city representatives did start and are continuing to start to have an accountability conversation with the county commissioners to have a future conversation once the Bunnell Library opens up. But we don't know what that's going to look like.
I'm going to make 2 points. One is we went to the hearing on the budget, and Kim Carney, who's a friend of mine. We both were in the same Corvette club together. But anyway, I don't have Corvettes anymore. But anyway, she.
I think you're a Ford guy now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a Mustang convertible guy. She said that the issue of library funding drew the most responses from the community in letters and emails to her. She said for her, stay on the commission, she's heard more from citizens about the library funding, the pros of library funding, than any other issue before the commission. And that's wonderful. And so if we can reach her, if we can get more Ty Millers in the world, in the Flagler County world, to speak up and say, we need this. We need a robust library system. The library is very, very cost effective for what it does. Everything is negotiated. Everything is pared down to the very least we can do to provide a rational, viable, and enjoyable program. But anyway, we need more Ty Millers to convince more commissioners, more council members that, whatever you do, don't let the library begin a slide. In Arkansas, I read, 3 districts like our Flagler County, 3 counties in Florida got rid of their libraries. 3. So you're already one of the poorest states in the country, and now you stop your kids from going to the library. And how does that contribute to the well-being of citizens of Arkansas? That's amazing. It's stupefying to me. So we've got to support these libraries, and I hope we reach the audience today to know why and how. FlaglerLibrary.org. Go to your computer and then click on FOL button and then donate and become a member and become an ambassador, a supporter of your public library system. And we get a lot of young adults who are searching for their next job or their first job, and they come in and do the research and then apply. The computer usage is free, and you can send out resumes from the computer. Oh yes, here it is. And so these things are free to people. The community has a lot of free resources to advance themselves. So much in the library is free to citizens because I know in my heart that if any library system starts charging for things like that, you would then see a outflow of people because they can afford free. But people are struggling right now. They're still struggling. And free learning, enjoyable, fun experience is the best thing that ever happened to our citizenry, particularly if some are disadvantaged in terms of their job and pay.
But as we know, nothing's free. All the services and the things, if you're benefiting from the library or plan to, it's being paid for, supported by donors like yourself through the Friends of the Library. And as I asked earlier, Mike, I heard the commissioners talking about these new and exciting technical computer-based programs that the new library of the Nexus Center, which was part of the grant that they got to expand this. And are you saying that the Friends of the Library or the people like us that are donating are the ones providing that? And if so, have you guys already been presented with what those programs are going to look like and how we're going to pay for them?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that because we had that discussion in our board of directors meeting. We do have a board of directors for the Friends of the Library. I'm the president of the board of directors. We have about 15 members on the board. Each of them has a specialty, whether it's computers or social media or budgeting or things like that. And we talked to Holly. We had Holly Albanese, and she is the system leader. By the way, she's also going to be resident down at the Bunnell branch as the director of that branch. And anyway, she is preparing her budget now, and she's going to tell us what she needs in programs. Rough costs, the expected costs of putting on these programs both in Bunnell and in Palm Coast. So we get that budget, and then we prepare our budget for the year. And I'm talking about 2026 right now. We'll be preparing our budget. We have a budget. But we need to augment it by now. The best estimates from our 2 library branches. We'll have that soon enough, and we'll enter next year with the budget of the programs we got to pay for. We'll know roughly what the cost is going to be, and hopefully we'll have a heads up as to the equipment we might have to buy. We have bought chairs, we have bought tables, we have bought book racks, we have bought computers, we have bought things. The Palm Coast branch has a music garden for children. They love to go in there and make different sounds by banging and clanging on bells and things. It's right adjacent to the library. You just walk there, and it's for children, although I have fun too. But anyway, we pay for things like that. These are the extra things that they don't have funding for, but they add to the experience of coming to the library. So yes, we got to pay for it.
You mentioned the 2 locations. Does that mean the original Bunnell is going to be folded into the
Exactly.
Nexus? Okay.
Exactly.
And is there a time frame for that?
Yes, will be a grand opening in December. I'm not sure the date yet. Holly will be providing that, and it'll be a public grand opening. And that means we have the furniture, the interior is all dressed out, and we will begin programs there. She will have a staff down there, and she's ready to go. And then we start funding those activities. They'll have books, they'll have book racks, they'll have the stuff that they need to open up. But there's always something extra that needs to be funded. It's not in the budget, and that's where the Friends of the Library step up and make sure these libraries get what they need. Now, we may not be able to pay for all they would wish to have, but we pay for the things that we vote on in our board of directors that says, yeah, this is a must-have. And so we find the funds by raising, if you're members out there listening to this or watching this, if you are members of the Friends of the Library, you just got a letter from me saying, we need you to maybe make a little extra donation for us because of that new branch coming online. And if you know of organizations or people or something that may be a potential donor, I would love the public to email me at folflagler@gmail.com. folflagler@gmail.com.
We'll get all that information
and communicate to me.
And we'll put that out
Yeah.
for everybody to
Good.
make sure that you know, because at one of the last commissioners meeting, Kim or Pam, I'm not sure which, was responding to a request or a question by our representative, Teresa, about how many of the programs that we have at Palm Coast, which are highly used,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, full all the time, are going to be lost or transited or moved to the new library instead of being duplicated at the new library. And the questioning kind of was presented by the council. Their view was that the Flagler library system would offer book reading, and I'm just picking that out. And it would be at one or the other library. And that as a citizen who has been going to Palm Coast now may need to go to the Nexus or the Bunnell. And the reason she was saying this was she didn't understand why everybody was so confused about the loss of hours in Palm Coast, because we're adding hours in Bunnell. And Teresa Ponetary looked at her and said, well, look, I'm a little confused because having a kindergartner book reading in the afternoons at Palm Coast and used by 20, 30 families, you're going to move that program to the new one and not duplicate it. So a lot of questions are happening as far as where people are. And it wasn't clear to me, and that's why, and I hear you say you guys are in this progress or process through Holly, trying to determine what is going to be offered where. Because the fact of the matter is we don't have any idea how well or how much the new library may be even used. It's going to take time for people to discover it and to find out where it is and to understand its use. People need to understand this library is not 100% funded by your tax dollars, by your millage. Most of the programs, and this is why it was desperate and very important for Mike to come here to share with you, that when you walk into the library and you see the computers there, or you see a room that's full of kids that are working in those activities, those are done by donations, not by your tax dollars. And people don't understand or are aware of it.
Yeah, but I will make you're right. I will make the point that you can go to the library at Palm Coast and rent the meeting room. Anytime they have availability, of course. You gotta see what the availability is, and you could rent it. You will be able to do the same down in Bunnell. For example, if I may, there's going to be a central room. It's kind of open, but the public will be able to rent it for their own. For example, if they want to put on a wine and cheese reception for their customers, or they want to rent it for to hold a movie theater night or something, you can rent these things, and that all that money goes in to benefit the programs, not that we pay for, but the things that the library needs to pay for on their own. So yes, there's so much. What we have is that I don't want to confuse the two, but what we really are going to have is two almost like civic centers, except focused on learning and growing and enjoying. So that's what we've got, and we need the public's help to do this. So if you can give, please, if you join, we would love it. You'll get to meet me. How about that? And if you join, I will do my very, very best to make sure you are comfortable. And if you wish to volunteer an hour or two a week to the library through us, I will arrange that. And if you want to volunteer work just for the library, in other words, not through the FOL, I'll arrange that too. Make sure you get to the right people, because working in support of the library is the most satisfying thing that I've ever done since the birth of my two daughters. It's just very, very satisfying, especially to a person like myself. I came out of let's call it a less than peaceful environment after roughly 30 years with the Department of Defense. And we planned for wars. It's what we did. And in fact, conducted some of them. But anyway, to come out of that environment into a library environment, I love every moment of it. I go to the library not because I'm even doing anything at the library. I go there just to read the newspaper, grab a book that I want to read, and anything else, just because it's so relaxing, it's so inviting, and so personal at the library. And I encourage everybody to at least step through the doors and start asking what we've got going. Okay?
Everything you're doing is phenomenal.
Thank you very much.
And it's important, and the number one...
I'm sorry.
the number one takeaway is the success of our library is based on your donations and your commitment, whether it's volunteer, and understand, as I didn't until I too joined and became Friends of the Library, because I use it. I go in there in the afternoon, I use the computers, and I check out books, and I find things, and I love watching people just really enjoying and learning, and the takeaway is huge. It's paid for by us. It's supported by us.
Let me just, you can visit us on Facebook. It's Friends of the Library, Flagler County. Friends of the Library, Flagler County on Facebook. And you can have all the information about us, including how, if you wish, we would love it if you would make a donation to us.
Right.
And even if you even want to do more than that you volunteer to help us in some way. If you have some skill set would benefit the Friends of the Library, particularly, by the way, in marketing and fundraising. We need help. We're not experts.
Exactly. Well, Mike,
Thank you so much.
thank you so much for coming.
This has been wonderful, and I really appreciate it.
Great. Hey, guys, if you learned anything today, you learned that it is your library. It is supported and paid for by you and your efforts within this city. It's nonpartisan. We all use it. Leave your politics out the door. Come in. Enjoy all of the things that this library offers you and the young people that will be following you as we all move on to other things. So with that, thank you guys. Really appreciate you stopping by, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you.